Salutations and good morrow everyone, and welcome back to another Sim-Alot vlog, where today we're hopping in and we're going to be talking about a topic that I recently went over before on the channel, and it actually did super well, and I have gone through and put a lot of thought towards it, and I've said it in a couple videos already, and that is that I want to take this channel and I want to put it towards something good. I've built almost we've together, I should say, have built up a community of almost 25,000 people. That is a huge number of people, and I thought about it and I said, you know what? I want to use this channel for good. I have the power to do it, and I need to do something with it, and that is to do the best that I possibly can, and that's to raise awareness and possibly in the future a charity event even for a mental disorder that I feel like isn't talked about enough, that a lot of people just kind of throw to the side a lot of the time, or that people may not even know that they're suffering from. So I want to start talking about it, and I'm hoping all of you guys are interested in this as well, and that is, as most of you know, my anxiety disorder. I suffer from a serious anxiety disorder. Or you can call it, I guess, extreme anxiety disorder, or you could call it, you know, bad anxiety disorder. But in other words, what happens for me is I have something called anxiety attacks, and on top of that, I also have constant anxiety as well. Now, we'll go into exactly what that means and what that means for me as well, but what I want to make sure that I'm pointing out for everybody here is that, one, I am not a medical professional. This is all just me explaining to you what happens to me. You have something like this, do not self-diagnose. Go talk to a medical professional, explain to them how you are feeling. Okay, they'll probably have you fill out some sort of form, some sort of survey, some sort of questionnaire, and once you fill that out, then you and your doctor can work together. Now, I am medicated for this. I will tell you that now. I have to take medication for my anxiety disorder, okay, because of how serious my version of the anxiety disorder is. That does not mean that you need to be at my level in order to go talk to somebody about this, okay? But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you guys through what it's like for me to have an anxiety attack, and what it was like for me, and why I went to the doctor, and why I was diagnosed with this, and how long I've been dealing with it. So we'll start with how long I've been dealing with this. I have been having anxiety issues or anxiety attacks since I think the first time that my parents said that I started to look like I was having an anxiety attack is when I was 6 years old. So that would put it at 22 years I have been having anxiety, okay? And just now, at 28, am I finally being medicated for it. So that tells you that you don't need to be medicated for it if it's not that bad. But if you feel as though it's that bad, go talk to a medical provider. Please go talk to somebody, because I can tell you from experience, living with anxiety is very difficult. It's not easy at all. It affects all around you, because you could be things like irritable, angry all the time, maybe can't control your emotions, literally at a point of snapping at all times because your brain is overfull. It's overfilled and it doesn't know what to do. So that's why you start to build anxiety. So I'm going to walk you guys through what it's like for me to have an anxiety attack, and then explain kind of why it happens to me as it was explained by my doctor, and then some of the things that I have done in the past, and then why I ended up going to the doctor. So first, let's start with what it's like for me to have an anxiety attack. For me to have an anxiety attack, I'm just going to give you all the symptoms in a list. So one, I start to shake, convulse. Kind of looks like I'm having a seizure, or if I was outside and I was freezing cold. Okay, so imagine just shaking and shivering worse than you ever have, and imagine it's everywhere, not just in your arms or your hands or something. You shake it like, no, it's everywhere. Okay, everything is shaking. It's, you know, you feel it in your chest, you feel it in your legs, you feel it everywhere, right? Then on top of all of that, you're hot and cold at the same time. You're freezing cold but burning up at the same time. So you're shivering like crazy because you think you're freezing cold, but you're burning up so you can't cover yourself. And with that comes you being super thirsty, right? Your heart is beating super fast. At one point, my heart was beating at 130 beats per minute, just crazy fast, right? So that's 2 beats a second, like just boom, going nuts when I was sitting still. Now, some of you may say, well, when you're out running or something like that, that's not that big deal. I was sitting on the couch, not moving. And that's what happened. Okay. You'll have to go to the bathroom. You'll feel nauseous. You'll feel like you're out of breath. You'll start hyperventilating. And the worst thing of all of that is your thoughts just start going like crazy. And that's one of the big things that a lot of people don't realize with an anxiety disorder is when you start to get overwhelmed, your thoughts just start to run and run and run and run and run. And you can't calm them down. You can't keep them in your head. And it's heartbreaking because nobody around you can really do anything for you besides help you calm down while you work through the anxiety issue that you're currently having. So that's just a few of the symptoms that I have. Another thing that comes with it is being a hypochondriac sometimes, feeling like a lot of bad things are happening, right? And we'll get more into that in just a minute. But you know, like I said, I've been dealing with this for a long time, but I've just recently come to the point where I have decided it's time for me to go and get medicated for it. A lot of people can handle this just by going through and talking to somebody. I would suggest if you're going to go in and get checked for an anxiety disorder, you don't immediately jump to get medication. A lot of people, I would say probably 80% of people can probably get past their anxiety disorder with just speaking to somebody. But I wanted to raise awareness for this because, like I said, it's just not really talked about by anybody. And it's just the same as having something like depression or, you know, or bulimia or any other sort of mental disorder or disease that people have. That's the same as having, you know, diabetes. It's just another disease that people get that not a lot of people want to talk about. People just don't like to talk about them having some sort of, you know, mental thing. I mean, if you have a mental disorder, you need to go see medical help for it. I'm just saying, like, you need some sort of way to take care of it because it's not healthy. It's going to start affecting everybody around you, which leads me to why I went and got help. Okay. What happened is everything around me started to become more stressful, right? And stress is a big thing when it comes to an anxiety attack. Okay. And what happened to me was I was sitting in my house, actually laying in my bed, watching a show on NASA. Okay. For those of you who don't know, I love space stuff. So me watching a show on NASA is something that's normal, something I do often. Right? And I was watching the show and all of a sudden my chest felt tight and it started to beat really hard. And I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And I went and checked my pulse and it was all over the place. It was at like 130 beats a minute. It was crazy fast. And I plummeted into the worst anxiety attack that I have ever had. It was absolutely horrible. Okay. I could not control myself. I could not control my breathing. I was tearing up. I was feeling sick. I was shaking like crazy. Like I said, I mean, all these things to the point where I thought I was having a heart attack and I literally thought I was going to die. I walked over to my kids. I said goodbye to my kids thinking I was going to go and die somewhere. And I had a family member drive me to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack and that was it. It was the end. And I made that family member promise me before I got out of the car that if anything happened to me, that they would take care of my family. That is how serious an anxiety attack can get. And I hope and pray that if any of you are suffering from anxiety attacks, you do not allow them to get to that point. Okay. Now I'm going to explain to you how it was explained to me on why I have the anxiety attacks that I do, because some people don't really understand what that means. So imagine, we'll use this bottle as an example. Imagine this bottle has a hole at the top and the bottom, right? And each of the holes are exactly the same size. So however much water gets put in the top also comes out the bottom, right? Cool. That's how the normal brain will work. Apparently, mine decided when I was younger that it doesn't want to work like that. Now imagine I took this pencil and put a hole in the bottom of this bottle. So now I have a bigger hole at the top than I do at the bottom. And if you fill too fast on this side, which is what happens constantly, and it can't empty out this side, guess what? It now dumps out. And when it dumps out, it empties the bottle completely. So now instead of having the fear or the sense of fear, the endorphin that causes excitement and fear is what this is. The chemical in your brain that causes excitement and fear is what that is. And when you get an overload of it, you start to freak out. You start to pump adrenaline into your body. And that's a problem. So when that dumps out, instead of getting your normal dose you'd get even if you were scared, you get way more than you're supposed to, which is why I am required to be on medication for this, because of that problem. I also suffer from anxiety constantly. So I will freak out about the smallest things. I overanalyze everything. I need to have reassurance constantly, because that's what it was like before I was put on my medication, because I was constantly having anxiety issues. It's almost like towards the end I was in a constant anxiety attack. It just depended on how strong it got. And that is why I decided to bring myself to the doctor. That is what it's like to have anxiety. Now, I'm not saying this, guys, at all for a pity party for Sir Sim-Alot. I don't want a pity party, guys. I really appreciate all the super kind words. And I really, really do thank you, everybody, for all of your super, super kind words. Okay? The support that comes from this audience is what made me want to go through and start being a spokesperson for anxiety, start getting more people paying attention to anxiety, getting people wanting to pay attention more, to bring more awareness to this mental disease, because it is a problem that a lot of people suffer from that they may not even know that they're suffering from. And I want more people to be aware of it and hopefully not have to suffer like I did, because I'd hate for people to go through what I have gone through. It was a terrible, terrible time in my life when I was going through that, and I'm now just starting to recover from it. So I wanted to get that out of the way. So please, guys, I love the kind words. Thank you all so much. But please don't look at this and be like, he's just looking for attention. That's not what this is. Okay. And also, one more thing. Like I said earlier in the video, if you guys do think that you're suffering from anything like what I was telling you, please go seek medical professional help. Do not self-diagnose, but please go see medical professional help and find a way that works for you, because not what I do is not going to work for everybody out there, right? It may work for some, but it's not going to work for all. So take your time, find out what works for you, whether it's, what you got to do, you know what I mean? Or going out and seeking medical professional help and talking with somebody. But please do not just suffer alone. Because remember, guys, as I said in a video before, and it's going to become a channel motto here, guys, you are not alone. Just remember that. Thank you guys so much for watching this one, though. I really do appreciate it, guys. Please hit that like button for me if you could. And also, please don't forget to subscribe and leave me a comment down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in the next one.